Hi, I'm Skinny Cheeks, and today I'm going to go over the Stamina Warden for Harrowstorm PTS 5.3.1. I tested a ton of different setups, and we'll start by going over what gave me the best results on the 21 million raid dummy. I'll also compare a few setups that got close that could prove to be better in an actual raid environment where you have access to more sustain and synergies. One more thing I'll note is the Stamina Warden and Stamblade are probably my two least played Stam classes, so I'm sure there will be others out there that could manage to do a little better than me. Here's the best parse I was able to get. It was 88.9k, and I'll have a clip of the parse at the end of this video. I used 2 Selene, 5 Aegis Collar, 5 Relequen, all bloodthirsty, Nernhoned and Sharpened, Axe and Dagger with poisons, Maelstrom's Bow, infused. For the skills, I used Bird of Prey, Sub-Assault, Growing Swarm, Rapid Strikes, Bullnetch, and Wild Guardian. On the back bar, Bird of Prey, Endless Hail, Barbed Trap, Cutting Dive, Bullnetch, and Wild Guardian. And the animal abilities on the back bar are just there for the passives. So here's the rotation that I'm doing. It's pretty simple overall. All you have to do is swap in Swarm or your Guardian in place of one of the Rapid Strikes whenever they are ready to be applied. The same thing goes with the Bullnetch. If you need some sustain, just replace one of your Rapid Strikes with it. For the CP, I'm doing 61 Master at Arms, 40 Thaumaturge, 52 Precise Strike, 61 Piercing, and 56 Mighty. So the first comparison I'll go over is Rapid Strikes versus Cutting Dive and why I got better results with Rapid Strikes. So I'll just list a few pros and cons of each. Pros for Rapid Strikes. Since Rapid Strikes hits 5 times in one cast, it is more likely to proc bleeds and also item sets like Selene that rely on direct damage. Rapid Strikes also has a built-in execute through the dual wield passives. And finally, it just hits harder than most other spammables. For the cons, you give up an animal companion's passive by not slotting Cutting Dive, and it's a bit harder to bash weave. There's a shorter window since it's a channel. Now for Cutting Dive. For the pros, since it's an animal companion ability, it adds the 2% damage. It's really easy to bash weave since it's an instant cast ability. It has a 28 meter range, and it has a secondary bleed effect. For the cons, since it's ranged, it is unable to proc bleeds from an axe. It won't proc item sets that rely on melee damage like Selene. The Spammable itself does less damage than Rapid Strikes, and in order to get the most out of the secondary bleed effect, you have to stop your rotation during the off balance period and pretty much just spam birds, so it can be kind of difficult to work around. This will be especially difficult for console where they don't have add-ons to track off balance. So overall, I think the bird has the higher top end potential for damage if you really utilize that secondary bleed passive, but Rapid Strikes allows you to just do a normal rotation and not have to think too hard into it and still provides really good results. Now I'll compare Selene versus Marsalok. On the raid dummy, they are doing comparable damage, usually between 3 and 3.4k. However, in raid, there will be a lot more negative effects on the enemy, and Marsalok should pull ahead by quite a bit. If you are using Cutting Dive, you'll notice that Selene doesn't proc from it, so you'll lose a good bit of damage there. Selene is definitely better with Rapid Strikes. And then as far as Marsalok, it's a little bit harder to weave with Rapid Strikes, but in a raid it still should do more damage, even if you're just weaving it in on your Sub-Assaults and Growing Swarms. One more note about why Selene seems to do a little better than Mars on the dummy is that sustain is worse on the dummy than it is in a trial. So having to constantly bash weave in the parse means that I have to keep up the net pretty much the whole time. Whereas with Selene, I can just cast it once or twice and I'm good on sustain through the whole parse. This allows you to get more spammables off during your rotation. In a trial scenario, if you have good support, this would probably counteract that need to continually cast the Netch, and so just another reason why Marsalok will probably pull ahead in a raid. If you do have sustain issues though, using Selene with Rapid Strikes and not bashing is definitely a good route to go. I also tried Lokk+Relequen instead of Aegis, and it was about 4k lower in a raid scenario. If you have good uptime on Lokk+Relequen, that will bring those two a lot closer together. And also the higher your damage, the better Lokk+Relequen is. while the lower your damage, the better Aegis will be. On the raid dummy, I'm getting about a 69% uptime on Lokk+, so imagine if that was, closer to 100, the sets would be a lot closer together. I also highly recommend going Vampire with Stamwarden. I usually forgo it on a lot of classes. I don't think it's super necessary, but with Stamwarden, seems to help a lot. I go from having to cast the Netch like 4 to 5 times to only having to cast it 1 to 2 times. I also tried out some setups to try and take advantage of the new Glacial Presence passive, where enemies and allies who have been chilled take 10% more crit damage and healing from you. So I tried running Winter's Revenge. I also tried a Frost enchant. I tried using the Lover Mundus and going Charged Infused, Nern Charged, pretty much every combo you can think of. And a lot of them got pretty close to the more standard setup with the Shadow, but none of them quite made up that gap. Here's all the different setups that I tried out, and I'll put a link to this below if you want to check it out. So in conclusion, if you want to play around that off-balance passive and really try to get the most out of the bleed, I think Cutting Dive will probably work a little better for you. But if you're someone like me that wants a little bit more static rotation, Rapid Strike seems to do a little better. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Here's a clip of my best parse. Bye.
Johnny goes to the stage, no fear, no fear. He is one with his ways, he knows what he wants to convey. So clear, like a line from a page, from a book, from the Lord's shelf itself. Johnny rides in the night, through hell, but Johnny understands why he does what he does. He kissed his family goodbye, so long, farewell, like a scene from a play on a stage in a town full of people that never seem to ever get over their own sight and smell. Love is supposed to be more than a dream, but lately it's not all it's cracked up to be. Why can't I love you the way you love me? Oh, why can't I be more like Johnny? But Johnny sleeps with no guilt, no blame, no shame. And if I felt how he felt, I would blow you all away. I'd blow you all away. Blow you all away. Blow you all away. Filling me, it fits my begging knees. It tells me just to be, it shows me what I need. A spirit is filling me, it fits my begging knees. It tells me just to be, it shows me what I need.